Good morning and welcome to the Scoop with Barb. Today we're going to talk about what is the problem with women who don't have children, and do these people not understand that sometimes women can't have children or don't have children for the reasons that have nothing to do with like not liking children or not wanting to be humbled. So if you're interested in that, please stay tuned and I'll see you in a minute. I'll see you in like 5 seconds.
Hey everyone, you're tuned in to the Scoop with Barb, bringing you the important updates and information you need to know. Let's get started.
All right, so there's not anybody. Well, now some people popped in. Okay, welcome to the Scoop with Barb. If you're new to my channel, I appreciate you being here. And if you could please hit the like button. Hey, Broken, if you could please hit that like button on your way in. And also settle in, have a little seat, and please participate in the comment section. I'm going to start with this video that I've got here from when Sarah Huckabee Sanders was talking about some things with her family, with her daughter, and then had to attack Kamala Harris for not having her own birthed children. So we're going to watch that first. We're going to watch a few clips here and there, but we're going to watch this first, and then we're going to talk about this part. I got to bring that up for y'all. All right, now we're going to show that.
And because of each one of you, he's going to be back in the White House and win big in November. You know, I stand here tonight.
Let me just remind everybody that I do live in Arkansas. I've lived in Arkansas my whole life, and this is the governor of Arkansas. She is very conservative, and I'm not here to talk about who to vote for or any of that. We're only here today, and I'm not going to talk about things about her that I don't like, or if there's anything I do like. Well, what we're going to talk about today is this thing about the cat ladies and the women who don't have children, and why you're attacking people who in your own party don't have children, because there's reasons why some of us don't have children. All right, back to this.
Tonight, as the former White House press secretary, a job that I absolutely loved, and now as the 47th governor and the first woman to ever lead my state. And while I'm incredibly proud of those things, the most important job I have, the greatest title I have, is that of being a mom. I have 3 kids. That are 12, 10, and 9. And my kids serve as a permanent reminder of everything that is at stake in this country. And it's why I'm here tonight. Because I want somebody who's going to stand up and fight for my kids. And I know that there is nobody in the country more suited, more qualified, and more prepared to step in and lead and make our country strong, free, and great again as Donald Trump will. Not only do my kids serve as a permanent reminder of what's important, they also keep me humble. You can walk into a room like this where people cheer when you step onto the stage, and you might think for a second that you're kind of special. Then you go home and your kids remind you very quickly you're actually not that big of a deal. And ours are pretty good at it. My daughter Scarlett, who's 12, a couple years ago, was getting ready for her first ever father-daughter dance. Big deal at our house. Scarlett didn't just want to go to the dance, she wanted a big reveal. She wanted to come down the stairs and her Prince Charming, my husband, to be there, and everything to be this magical, special thing. So I'm sitting at the top of the stairs, putting the finishing touches on Scarlett, making sure she's ready for the night of her life. And as I'm talking to her, I'm telling her how proud I am of her, how thankful I am that God chose us to be her parents, how beautiful she is on the inside and out. And as I'm having this moment, I start to get a little bit emotional, teared up. As my eyes fill with tears, my sweet daughter reaches up, pats my shoulder, and says, "It's okay, Mommy. One day you can be pretty too." So my kids keep me humble. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris doesn't have anything keeping her humble. You would think after 4 years of straight failure,
Okay. For one thing, Kamala
she would know a
Harris
little
is
humility.
pronounced Kamala.
Unfortunately, she does.
Kamala Harris, okay? Kamala Harris. Now, according to the CDC, 13.4% of women in the United States between the ages of 15 and 49 had impaired fecundity, which is fertility, between 2015 and 2019. This means that they had physical difficulties getting pregnant or carrying a pregnancy to live birth. 8.5% of married women in the same age group were considered infertile. Okay, so you are going at someone who doesn't have her own children, and I don't know why Kamala, and it's pronounced Kamala, not Kamala, and you know that, Sarah, you know that. But they like to say her name wrong, but they know how to say her name. And why do you do that? I don't know. Again, I don't want to talk about what I don't like about Sarah. I want to talk about why are you throwing out women? Like, do you not want these women to vote for y'all? Do you think that cutting down, okay, Kamala Harris actually has 2 stepchildren that she's helped raise who love her and call her Mamala, okay? And they love her. And so what? She didn't give birth to them. I didn't give birth. There are reasons why I didn't give birth. I wasn't ever in a relationship at the right time in my age to give birth, right? I was never in a long-term relationship of where I wanted to bring a child into the world. And I don't think that for me, my income level has never been enough for me to raise a child on my own. And what about women who have babies and can't afford them? And then you say the government shouldn't help them because they shouldn't have had the baby. Well, you don't get to determine who has a baby or not. And if somebody's infertile, you don't know that they're infertile. About 9% of men and about 11% of women of reproductive age in the United States have experienced fertility problems. In 1/3 of the infertile couples, the problem is with the man. In 1/3 of infertile couples, the problem can't be identified or is with both the man and woman. Is a woman less than because she's never birthed a baby? Look, I take my mothering skills and I adopt dogs. Like, I don't buy dogs. I recently lost my sweetest, cuddliest dog. I still had another dog here who I love dearly. I love him to death. But I still wanted one of those dogs that just loves to be held and, a lap dog, basically, to go along with him. And I haven't even told anybody this, I considered like getting somebody to get me one, like get me a dog, because I only adopt dogs. I only do that. And I even had the thought, well, I'll just get this person to buy me a dog. And then I'll say, well, they bought me this dog. So, but no, I wasn't going to do that. A dog came available the other day. I saw it. I went over there and I beat another woman there to get this little dog. I love her to death. I'm a dog parent. Could I have had a child? I think so. I don't know. I never tried to get pregnant. But there's all kinds of people. Okay, let me see if I can find. Yeah, this is the one where Vance is talking about the childless cat ladies. This was where all that started with the cat lady stuff. So let's watch this.
Cat ladies, a comment made by Donald Trump's running mate J.D. Vance has struck a nerve across the country. He once called Kamala Harris and other politicians childless cat ladies. Now, women who have cats and no kids are hitting back, including Jennifer Aniston and a lot of Swifties. As Amber Cogliano reports, the claws are definitely out.
Republican Veep candidate J.D. Vance is igniting a firestorm for once calling citizens without children childless cat ladies.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too.
Miserable? What is he? I mean, like, what is he even talking about?
If you look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children.
Pete Buttigieg has 2 children. I don't know if he's actually I don't know if he supplied the sperm to make those children. I know that he and his husband have 2 children. I don't know if either one of them fathered these children. It doesn't matter. I especially think it's great when you adopt children who don't have a parent or don't have a parent who can care for them, because there's a lot of people out there that have babies. There are a lot of women who have babies who cannot take care of them, and somebody else has to step in. And if you didn't have all these childless women out there, and some people take in children and already have their own children, but it's, people care for other people's children in this world. That's what a lot of people do.
Vance made the comments in 2021 when Tucker Carlson was a Fox News personality. The video has just resurfaced.
There are people who have chosen not to have children for whatever reason. There are people who want to have children who cannot. How dare you?
I am hearing from so many girlfriends, lifelong Republicans, that are so offended.
Even Jennifer Aniston is offended. In a rare political statement she posted, "I truly can't believe that this is coming from a potential VP of the United States." The 55-year-old actress, who has been open about her past struggles with fertility, spoke directly to Vance. "I pray that your daughter is fortunate enough to bear children of her own one day." I spoke with 31-year-old Lauren Shake and her 2 cats.
What was your reaction to J.D. Vance's resurfaced comments?
A little bit of shock and a little bit of annoyance that that's still the commentary and has been the commentary about women who have cats or animals in general, that if you don't have kids and you have animals, you must be miserable and you can't, do everything.
I spoke with CBS News senior White House correspondent Ed O'Keefe.
Do we know how this particular clip resurfaced?
It's all part of what we call opposition research, when either side goes back and finds
I didn't really even know that he had said that long time ago, and here's another clip.
Women, I'm 35. I'm thinking about starting a family. Everyone in my friend group is either dealing with struggles to get pregnant, losing babies that they wanted to, or finding a partner and they want to have kids, but they haven't found someone, or a number of them just have chosen it's not the right path for them. And that we demonize and shame people on the most personal, private decision is so anti-family, it's anti-women. And by the way, men are offended by this too. My husband was texting me like, "Can you believe she said this?" It is the easiest way to lose people's support.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a bad strategy.
It's a bad strategy.
I see this a couple of ways. I think she intentionally mispronounced the vice president's name to start with.
Oh, yeah.
I think that there are a lot of ways of mothering.
What is reaching? Stop the grift. Which part is reaching?
I've been mothered by my grandmother. I've mothered other people's children. The vice president is a stepmother, and her stepchildren call her Mamala. So
They love her.
she is a mother. She is a mother figure. But let's call this another thing, which is what I saw, this lack of humility trope. Kamala is a self-made person. She is a child of immigrants.
Why do you need to be humbled? Like, do you not know? Does Sarah not understand that your public persona, because you're the governor, I mean, you have to be humbled? You can't just be humble. That's an old nothing clip that he has gone back and also reiterated and doubled down on by Stop the Grift, and also the Sarah Huckabee clip that I played probably before you came in was just from like within the last few days. So I'm not making a mountain out of a molehill. I'm talking about something that I think is worth talking about. But yeah, you have a great day too. Stop the grift. Bye.
Coming to a new country or even born here with immigrant parents who maybe have accents and don't speak the language and your family gets treated differently is a pretty humbling experience. I think when you're not born on third base into a political family is a pretty humbling experience. And the trope that a Black woman lacks humility because she is well-educated.
And also Sarah Huckabee Sanders' father was the governor of Arkansas before, and there's no way in hell, there's no way that Sarah Huckabee would have ever ended up at the White House as press secretary doing the daily briefings if her dad had not been governor of Arkansas. So you stepped into that role partially because of your dad. You had the name recognition because of your dad. When you ran for president, governor, you had nothing to get voted in other than your Huckabee's daughter, and you're a Republican in a red state with a actual rocket scientist running against you. Mr. Jones, I can't remember his first name, running against you. So name recognition, money that your father has, all of these things, you weren't even supposed to be governor. You don't have the qualifications to be governor, but you got elected. So, okay. But you did have that stepping stool.
And accomplished and confident and competent is a tired trope. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders, that says a lot more about you than it says a lot anything about her.
All of this, all of this has gotten me to the place where I don't care what y'all think of us. I don't care what you think of how we feel about being human beings on this planet. I want you to talk about the stuff that matters to people. If you really, again, as I said, if you care about families, make sure that when you actually get an idea of what you need to be doing for the people of this country, you'll include children in that. You'll make sure that children get what they need. And all of this discussion, stop saying mean things about stop doing it. You first. You stop first. Because I remember, Sarah, when people were saying mean stuff about you, yeah. And we stood and we supported you because we said, this is not how we talk about other women. What happened? You sat right here. You understood. You heard us say that. Where are you coming from now? Yeah. Who are you, Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Who are you? Who said?
Yeah, I'm just saying, there's a lot of things about Sarah that we could talk about why I don't like her, why I don't think she's a good governor, but that's not why I'm here. Here's some responses to this video. This person says, facts, I lived with my grandparents 3 to 4 years. I learned more from them about manners, human decency, and basic skills of life than my own broken family, and I'm a Gen Xer. My grandparents passed away this past year after being married 60 plus years. There are a lot of surrogate parents. There's a lot of people who step in and help with families. This is Sarah's family when she was a youngster, when they were in the governor's mansion. It's not a very clear picture. I didn't have a choice, but I was given a chance to raise my stepson, and no one can diminish that. Kamala Harris is helping to raise her 2 stepchildren. It's not like she doesn't have any children around. Why are you taking this out on women? Alexis Stevens says, "Yeah, who are you, Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Truly, how can you be so ignorant to express so selfishly with zero regard to any human women and their families. This is pathetic at its finest. You are shameful beyond words. Absolutely shameful. Truly disgusting. Yeah, and people don't like it because it's The View. Let me see if we can get some comments that's not from The View. This is from the other video that we watched. I'm a childless dog gentleman here seeking childless cat lady for love and companionship. No person should be forced to bear kids if they are physically and mentally cannot deal with and provide enough for their kids. What country are we in? This is the United States of America. Nobody has to have children to be important in society. If every female could and did have a child in this world, we would have way too many children. And what about the children who are in foster care, who need a loving parent and don't have one? How about all the children who need a little boost in their lives, who need a aunt or a stepmother or a lady, a man to help them in their life? If we all had a child, we wouldn't have time to help other people. I'm proud to be a childless cat lady. Bearing a child does not necessarily make one a worthy parent. Why do these people all not understand that? There's 8 billion people on this planet, not the end of the world if some people don't want kids. Also, we should adopt more. Too bad it's super expensive. But why bring more kids into this messed up world when there's already so many out there who can't take care and have no parents? I don't want kids, laughing my ass off. I'd be a terrible parent. It's best for me to just stick with dogs and let the people who actually want kids raise them. Yeah, and some people don't want children. I wanted children. I had a name picked out for a boy and a girl, but like I said, I was never in the right relationship to do that. And I didn't have that thing that women get, that they've got to have a child. I never felt that way. I wanted children. Like I said, I had a boy and a girl's name picked out. I got it from watching the Thornbirds. This is how old I am. So, that's my thing. And I don't know that I would have been a really great parent. I don't know. I did have times in my life when I know I wouldn't have been a great parent. Now, probably I would have. This person says, I'm not able to have kids. It's not a choice. This one says, I don't have kids because I never got married. It's just that simple. And you can have children out of wedlock. Everybody knows that. But a lot of people want to make sure that they have everything in place for that child to flourish, right? So you want to have a husband, you want to have, or a partner, you want to have, or even gay people can have a child. One of them can birth it if it's female. Y'all all know all that. But to have a 2-person family, and some people don't think that same-sex couples should raise children, although a lot of them have children because, like, first of all, a lot of women have children and then get into a same-sex relationship. Never married and don't have kids, not miserable at all. Damn it, I have kids and cats and I'm still miserable. Update for the losers who don't understand my comment. I have empty nest syndrome. I have 2 cats to fill in the voids of my millionaire kids whom I raised. Now they're gone. I have 2 cats and I'm still miserable. Parents understand. Gosh, a lot of Neanderthals on the internet. With the way our country is going with all the hatred, who would want to bring kids into this world? Yeah, I'm not sure that at this point, if I were of age, I would be terrified to bring a child into this world with the way things are right now. And you can take that however you want, but it's just something that, it's something to think about. And just because you can have a child doesn't mean that you should. And I don't believe that anybody should be forced to have a child. We're not in a time where, what is that show called? Where they physically rape the women to have a child with another man. Vance may cost the election with these comments. He's going to switch it up like he always does to get into politics. He hated Trump, but now he loves him. Well, that's true about Vance. And again, I don't want to get into the who are you voting for and why you should vote for this person or that person or any of the stuff. But I see their point. I do not understand how a woman like Sarah can go in public and make a speech and say such horrific things about somebody because they don't have children. It just doesn't ring as smart to me. Fact that Vance goes against women who had no kids is a shameful and cowardly act. He has no honor towards women. Can't call him a man. A man would respect women, not make such blasphemous statements. How can he be Trump's running mate is beyond me. Well, he's a dad. He has a wife. Vance has a wife. He has children. So, and also, I better not go there. What's wrong with being called childless cat ladies? I'm a childless dog person, and that doesn't bother me. Well, Hugh, Jazz, yeah, I mean, you're not bothered. I'm not particularly bothered that J.D. Vance called people childless cat ladies, and I'm a childless dog lady, and I've had cats too. What I'm talking about here is going in front of the public and saying somebody can't be humble because they don't have children. J.D. Vance calling people childless cat ladies, that was a dig. That wasn't just he wasn't just being funny. It was a dig. Leave the cats out of it. I have no children, but I pay to educate the children of strangers. Be grateful. Exactly. If you earn money, you pay taxes, and part of your tax money goes to schools to educate our children, right? Your tax money goes to these programs that help children in abusive situations. There are a lot of children who have to have help because they have bad parents. Not everybody should be a parent. Not every woman should give birth. That's just the way it is. He was also called a grape and inconvenience, and he wants normal families to have priority over those he deems not normal. This person says, I'm a Republican, and I thought this was an ignorant statement he made. Many Americans want kids but can't afford to provide for them, so they choose not to. That's another thing. If you don't have enough money to provide for your child, is it a good idea to have a child? Now, I'm not going to say you shouldn't have a child because that's not my decision. It's also not their decision. But if you can't afford a child and you're going to need the government to help you from the get-go, it's not a good idea to have a child. Maybe you should set up some kind of get with your church or somebody like that and say, look, I really want to have a child, but I may need help with it. I may need help with this child because I can't afford it. But if you're going to have a child and you can't afford it and you're going to need the government to help support you, then you shouldn't be pressed into having this child. No, I'm saving so much time, money, and trouble by not having kids. This is beyond belief. My daughter did not have kids for 7 years, so they had adopted a son. This is enough to drop him. It is the wrong guy without respect or brains. I'm just reading you what other people are saying. If I'm reading, it's not me, it's them saying, and I'm not saying I don't agree with them. I'm just saying my husband and I can't have children because he got cancer while serving in the military, so his service made us both childless. Military service. I'm not miserable because of it. I adore my husband and I love my life. There is more to life than having kids, and if this is your thing, perfect. Just respect other people's decisions and circumstances. You never know the reason. I have a friend right now. She doesn't have children. She said she couldn't. I didn't ask questions. It's none of my business. If she wants to tell me, she will. I have a lot of gay friends. They have children. They had children before they got married. or they got, they had children with a man, or they've had children since they've been with a woman. And he's jealous because childless cat ladies found the secret to longevity and eternal bliss. First, I'm a childless dog lady. Let me tell you, she is an expensive girl too. She lives to play a game called How Can I Make Sure My Mom Spends More Money This Week? And I can't even write her off on my taxes. Exactly. Secondly, gas is $4 a gallon, and I have to drive to work, so I know I can't afford diapers or bottles. Food, clothes, water, rent, and everything else is high, and you want me to have a child? No thanks. I'm going to stay single, happy, childless dog mom. Well, then I'm sure JD is in favor of paid family leave, right? And the enhanced child tax credit and child care subsidies and universal pre-K and increased education funding. Do y'all know how expensive it is to have a child when you have to buy diapers? If you work, you have to put them in daycare. A lot of people don't make enough to afford to drive to work and put their child in daycare for the amount of money they get back for it. It's not even worth working. And then they also have to put their child in daycare at 6 weeks. A lot of women don't like to do that. A lot of women want to stay home longer with their children. A lot of fathers too. He's the type to say you're selfish for not having kids. I'd rather have cats than children because they're less expensive and easier to raise. Years ago, teachers had to be single and child-free, devoted to the lives of their students. Yeah, are you saying that nuns, Catholic nuns, are less than because they don't have children? Because that's what they're doing for God. They're married to God, right? Isn't that how that works? Nuns are married to God and they don't have children. And they don't have sexual intercourse. And they don't do a lot of things that we do. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother to call me a childless cat lady, but what does bother me is setting a very dangerous precedent of shutting voters out of leadership and representative roles. Also, where's the equivalent dig at childless cat dudes like my husband? Yeah, what about the men who don't have children? Or what about the men who don't pay child support for their children? Who change jobs so that they can't ding them. And every time they get close to getting them by the court to get them to pay this child support, they just go get another job because they don't want to take care of their own child, or they never see their children. And mothers do this too. I'm married with kids and I'm still a cat lady. My husband is a cat dad. I'm tired of people using that as an insult. Giving a good home to a cat or multiple cats is a wonderful thing, and I wish more people would do it. Very bozo and disappointing comment by Vance. I love Trump. Vance, not so much. He does nothing for me. He should have picked someone else. What does he call a childless man? So it just goes on and 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 on. Let's see what this one says.
Me humble. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris doesn't have anything keeping her humble.
That was the governor of Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, engaging in some pretty vile rhetoric against her political opponent, Donald Trump's political opponent, Kamala Harris, during a town hall in Michigan, essentially implying that anyone who doesn't have their own biological children are unable to be humble because, her kids keep her humble, except the behavior she just engaged in is anything but.
Yep.
But keep going in this direction. I'm sure it's going to bode well for a campaign to constantly shame and judge people who don't have children in America.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just
biological children, by the way, because Kamala Harris has stepchildren. Biological children, by the way. Biological.
You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
Biological children, by the way, because Kamala Harris has stepchildren.
Yeah, I feel conflicted about it because on the one hand, I should encourage them to do it because they're just giving away thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of votes. So if you can't have kids, or you try to have kids and couldn't do it, or you don't want to have kids because you made a decision on your own about that, or you got stepkids, on and on and on.
Or you haven't found the right partner to have children with.
Right, and our members have written in with 1,000 stories just like that. Who's going to vote for you after these monsters tell you you're not as good as us, you're not worthy, right? You don't have a stake in this country. You're not as American as we are. You're not as important as we are, okay? And you know what? You're also not as humble as we are. Well, that ain't the most ironic thing I've ever heard. So I should be saying, oh, here's more rope. Go for it, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. But I had a visceral reaction to that clip.
Yeah, so did I.
And you couldn't hear it in the studio, but I shouted out, F you, okay, but the real thing. And it's because they're unbearable. How dare you judge the rest of us? And I got kids, I got 2 kids. That doesn't make me better than anyone else. It doesn't make me more humble. I didn't turn humble. And Charlie Kirk said it on our show. They say it, J.D. Vance said, they keep implying, well, until you have kids, you're a monster. No, you guys are monsters. Don't put that on the rest of us. And we're not monsters until we have kids. And then they have kids, they're like, oh my God, it turns out you could care about another human being. I've never felt this emotion before. Yes, that's because you're a bad person.
Well, in other related news today, Senate Republicans did something super interesting. They actually, that's right, they blocked an IVF bill. You know, the medical treatment that people who want to conceive and have children need to rely on, but health insurance doesn't cover it in most cases. So a lot of people can't afford it, can't do it, and don't end up having their own biological kids as a result of that. And while Donald Trump, while campaigning, alleged that he wanted to force insurance companies to pay for it or get the government to pay for IVF treatments, in reality, that is not something that Republicans are in favor of at all. Senate Republicans blocked the IVF.
If you don't have a child, if you
IVF
can't
bill
have a
today,
child,
the bill, which is,
and you need IVF, it's very, very expensive, and only people who are wealthy are able to do that. Again, as I said in the beginning, according to the CDC, 13.4% of women in the United States between the ages of 15 and 49 had impaired fecundity, which is the ability to have a child, the ability to get pregnant and carry it to term, between 2015 and 2019. This means that they had physical difficulties getting pregnant or carrying a pregnancy to live birth. 8.5% of married women in the same age group were considered infertile. You're infertile. You can't have a baby. Do you know that how that hurts women? Do you know that there are women who spend all of their birthing years desperate to have a child and can't have a child, and maybe can't afford to adopt one because it costs a lot to adopt? And they can't do IVF because they can't afford it. And you have to be like a TV pundit or a elected official to have enough money to do that. I have a college degree and I never made enough money to support a child of my own, or I might have done that. I might have used a fertility method to have my own child to raise on my own, but I never had enough money to where I could do that. And yes, I have dogs, but they don't cost anything like a baby. Okay, they just don't. They're not free and they're not cheap, and their medical bills are very expensive. But I have a very, I'm a huggy person and I like affection. And so I get that from my dogs. Don't take me wrong. We're not, don't even start that. But, you know, I'm not lonely because I have my dogs. But if I could have had a baby rationally, financially, I might have done that. But it's nobody's business. And why are you telling everybody to have a baby, Sarah? And Arkansas has one of the worst Arkansas has a problem with people having babies, right? With babies, baby care. I forgot all the stuff, but they don't want to help the children after they're born. So, and then you have all these children who are in foster care because they have bad parents. And so having a baby is a very complicated thing. And I appreciate people who think about it before they do it, who don't just have a whole bunch of babies because they can. And for y'all to use that as a political thing, I hope you lose votes over it. I just do. I hope you all lose votes for doing that. And maybe one of these days I will do a live stream or a video about all the reasons why you shouldn't support Sarah Huckabee Sanders, but that's not our thing for today. But I do appreciate y'all watching, and I hope that you consider the words of people who are against women who don't have children and think about how could that person be how could you elect that person to represent our country when they want to tell you that you're less than because you don't have a baby or never had a baby? Whether you could or couldn't, they don't know. Thanks for watching, and please hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more of this type of video. I appreciate y'all being here. Have a great day. Bye.